Hey, Jose, we need another one for your collection, eh? Hey, look, Boodle! Hey, how come you're not playing hockey, eh? Don't do that.
They're not the canned garbage that you listen to. They're real. They're from Canada. It's super cold, so they have to rock super hard to stay warm. I'll take your word for it.
Confined under the psychiatric care.
Now, I think he just pressed one of these buttons here.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Will and Y's Dog Show Drive. I'm Will Alexander, and
I'm Y.
Yep, and you certainly are. Just because. Sorry about last week. We missed a week, but we're back. And this week on the Dog Show Drive, we're going to talk about question of the week. Last week's question of the week, which was any advice you've got from anybody that resonates to this day. We're going to talk about an incident at a certain show that brings up a lot of questions about stacking blocks. So that made me reach out to Patricia Proctor, and she's going to tell us the views and thoughts on that, because Patty was the head of field reps in American Kennel Club. And what else did we talk about? Why?
Well, we went through everything we've missed since our absence.
Was a lot. So
There's a lot. There's a lot to cover.
If you want to make a coffee, the first 20 minutes.
Pause now. Go get something to drink.
But all that, and the Pet Expo too.
Pet Expo
Don't forget about
coming up.
The Spring Canadian Pet Expo in Toronto this week, the 18th, 19th, and 20th. I'll see you there on the 18th. So we talked about that. All right. All that and more on this week's episode of...
And more. Will and Y's, the Dog Show Drive. Canadian edition.
Hi, Y. How's it going?
I will. It's good. It's good. Missed ya. I missed you, my friend.
You didn't miss me. You had that little cutout thing. You know, you probably still have it to talk to.
I do. Sometimes I just tape it to the wall and have a chat with my buddy. Sure, everybody enjoyed that.
They did. I think so.
I couldn't stop. When I originally thought of it, I could not stop laughing. But as you know, I tend to laugh at a lot of things that I do that I think are funny, and I really don't care what anyone else thinks. I just laugh.
Exactly. Me too. I think I'm wasted here. I'm wasted here. It's just me.
I know. We need to go on the road more. I think we need to plan out. I think we do need to plan out a Will and Y's Dog Show Drive tour. Coming to all of the major cities across Canada.
Well, I don't know about that. At least Copaconk.
At least Copaconk. That's where the head office is. So what were you up to this weekend? You went to the dog show.
It was a dog show. Yeah, I went to the Guelph dog show because a friend of the show, my buddy Sean Bennett, was there. So I wanted to stop by and see everybody and see Sean and his daughter Celeste, because Celeste was judging Baby Puppy on the Thursday.
Oh, that's great.
And Sean did. I think Sean did a best in show and all the groups that he can do. So nice. It was a fun show. Yeah, it was a good show. And I have to, not going to lie, I did get tired.
Right. Oh, yeah. So kind of just update us a little bit on your, I mean, I told everybody you were good, but you're good.
Yeah, I'm still good. Yeah. Just the recovery is slow, and I can't do, like, I lose my breath, which I don't know. I'm not sure why that's happening, but I get tired really fast. So
faster than normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not NyQuil. Oh, sorry. And it looks like I was in a knife fight. Like I got all these little slashes on me.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm hoping it was. Oh, that's wrong. Oh, no. Let's try this one. No. There it is.
Were you a tester for the surgeon?
Maybe. But yeah. I'm good though. I feel good. Everything feels good. I other than maybe surgical pain.
Right, which is to be expected.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and I get tired. So.
Yeah. So, well, that's good. Well, at least you're.
So if you lose me halfway through the show, just carry on. I know you can do it.
Keep going. Just keep going. All right, buddy.
I will tell you. I have a bird. I can hear it right now. I have bird feeders out back, and they're full. And I have 1,000 birds now.
1,000?
1,000. Okay, maybe not. Maybe 15.
Okay,
But
close. Yes.
one, and I think it's a female cardinal, keeps hitting my window.
What do you mean by hitting? Like she flies into it?
She taps it.
Oh, like she's knocking.
Constantly. She taps it.
Getting
And
your
I
attention.
looked it up. I Googled it, and it said that they see their reflection, but I'm pretty sure like they see that was a male, and they're threatened by their territory. But I'm pretty sure it's a female because she's not red. She has the cardinal beak, but she's brown with red tinges on her wings and tail feathers, and I'm thinking she's a female
Because she's not as flamboyant.
fancy.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's the back of the house. And then what I find odd is my room, my bedroom is on the front of the house. If I put the dogs out in the morning, she leaves that window and comes to my window.
Now,
So
are you
it's almost
sure?
like she's
Are you sure it's the same bird?
same one. I know it's the same one. Yeah.
Because you can tell by her eyes.
I can tell by the look. Yes.
Okay.
And so now I'm not sure what to think. Like, is she trying to tell me something? Is she like Lassie?
Maybe she's just stalking you.
Or maybe she just stalking me. If she was a crow,
Maybe
I think she
you
was
are
stalking
the
me.
apple of her eye,
I
and
don't
she's
know.
stalking you.
I don't know. It's
Yes.
a little unnerving. But anyway, but the dog show was fun. I got to see everybody and
Good.
I saw my friends and saw all the dogs. It was a fun show. It was a good show.
Good. Good.
And I've been going to golf since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And now it's in Fergus. It's been in Fergus now for the last 15, 20 years anyway.
Oh, okay.
When I was a kid, it was in Guelph at the auditorium. But now it's when Edgar Bayona had it, it was in Fergus. So,
Okay.
and Edgar moved away.
Mm. Yes. He was our plumber. Remember?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
He was the plumber.
Our plumber has a first name.
It was
Remember that?
I do. Yes.
We used to sing a song to Edgar Bajona. Our plumber has a last name. It's Bajona. He was a good guy, though.
You're a great guy.
Yeah.
So what did you do?
I had a
Did you
really
do
busy
anything?
weekend. Yeah, I did. I did lots. I had a busy weekend.
You did a ring stewarding seminar.
Yes, I held a ring stewarding seminar for some of the local people because we're always lacking ring stewards. And I think the thing that most people are intimidated about ring stewarding is that they just don't feel confident about, doing it. And it's so I did a seminar for the better part of the day. We went through, rules and regulations and how, the ebb and the flow of the dog show goes and things to expect being a ring steward. And then we did a whole bunch of scenarios. So I had about 6 or 7 breeds that we, did. And then I did different, what if this one, because the best puppy and breed thing always,
that screws people up.
Yeah, it gets tricky, right? Because it does depend. And there are some things I actually need to look up a couple of things because I don't know, maybe you might know. So award of merits can be given to
Selects can be, not award. There's no award of merit.
no at
Except for
specialties.
Okay.
This is what I said, at specialties. Yeah. So an award of merit though can be given to a class dog, like the winner's dog or the bitch, correct?
Yes.
So if that be the case, then if a puppy
they defeated all the rest of the puppies.
Yeah. So if a puppy special goes
first award of
merit,
which is over all the males and females,
basically everything else, then it would be the automatic.
Yeah,
and
common
that's
sense
the only
tells
puppy.
you that beats all the puppies. Yeah.
But it's just it was the rule is if the award of merit is allowed to be given to any dog in the ring, then.
Yeah,
that would.
And especially it is. Selects
a specialty. No, selects are a different beast, right? Because they can only be handed out to specials.
To champions, yes.
Yeah, to champions. So so anyway, it was a good.
It's basically a process of elimination, though.
It is, and the thing I tell people is just take your time doing it. I know you'll have, in some breeds, there's always those puppy specials. And then if, that judge is going to hand out a ribbon before it, trust me, those puppy specials will let you know where they are.
Oh, yeah. And I use that same process in my head when I'm judging in America, because they have the owner handler series now. And it's the same thing. I go through process of elimination.
Yeah.
And that makes it, I think, because we have puppies up here in Canada, it's made me easier. It made me adapt
to figure it
easier.
out. Yeah, to figure it out. So I did that on Saturday morning until late afternoon. And then my community band, we had our big dance at the Slovak Legion. So I was out there cowbelling it. It was great.
Need more cowbell.
Yeah, they got lots of cowbell that night.
Need more cowbell.
Yeah, and so so it's good. Like 250 people come to our dance. So it's rocking. Wow. It's rocking. We play the music of the ages. We play from the 50s to Taylor Swift. So we do it all.
There's cowbell and Taylor Swift.
I usually play our band leader generally makes me play the cowbell to keep the beat and drive the band forward so that we don't slow down. So it's my job. It's my job.
You and Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I'm good at it. I don't wear a crop top for obvious reasons, but yeah, no, it was a great time. We had a good time that night. So, and prizes were had, fun was had. And then on Sunday, I was exhausted and I kind of slept in and then did some more work. And I did lots of laundry.
I took Sunday off as well. I was exhausted and I just did nothing here.
Yeah, it's
made dinner, watched hockey game.
Yeah. So that was it. So it was a good weekend, and I'm getting excited because, what do you have coming up this weekend? You've got
this Friday, on the 18th, I believe it is, April 18th, which is Good Friday, isn't it?
Yeah, Good Friday.
I'm at the Spring Canadian Pet Expo from 10 till 4 on Friday. What's that?
Yeah, and where's that held? That's at down.
It's at the International Center, Mississauga.
Yeah, across from the airport, basically.
Yeah, and I'm at the Breeders' Village where they do the Meet the Breeds. I'll have a desk there. What I'm doing there is they've asked me to go there with some books, and we're going to do I think they want me to do a reading, which may be difficult, so I have problems holding my breath. I don't know we'll see how it goes.
Well, just take it slow. You don't have to have speed read, and just do a dramatic reading.
Do a dramatic reading.
Dramatic reading, similar to Captain Kirk.
Oh, yes. We barely made it here at the International Center in Mississauga.
Thank you for coming out.
Rocket Man.
Yeah, that's what you should do. Dramatic reading, like Bill Shatner.
Yeah, so I'm going to be there from 10 to 4 on Friday.
Okay.
And it'll be fun. Ian Lynch has set up what looks like a great Meet the Breeds there. There's a bunch of breeds being represented there. I want to say 40 plus.
Nice.
So yeah, it's gonna be good. And I think I have what he told me, stage time at 12:30. So I have to get ready.
Makeup.
Did somebody say
tribute?
So I have that, and it's that runs all weekend. I'm only there on Friday, but it runs all weekends: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and there'll be lots to see there. Pardon me?
Yeah, anybody else come out and support the Meet the Breeds for sure.
Oh,
that'd be good.
Sure. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be quite exciting, and and there's a million things to see there. Yeah, it's not just dogs; there's all pets there. And the booths there, the vendors there
it's insane. It's huge. It's huge.
It's like the exhibition for pets.
I know. Isn't it the largest one in Canada?
I think so.
Because I know they have some other ones out west as well, but I think this one is the largest.
Yeah. Grant Crossman runs the whole event, and he's done a wonderful job with the event. He's the one that actually got Aurora Kennel Club at the Pet Expo in the fall as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So the dog show is there as well. It's a great event, and I'm looking forward to being there. And my son Liam's coming with me, and we're going to take a bunch of books. I'm not allowed to carry anything, so Liam's going to be my book mule. And
yeah, I'm glad that I don't have that job anymore.
Yeah, but I will be taking our dog show drive sign.
Yes.
And I'll be talking about the dog show drive, and I have some flyers to put out. So
excellent.
I'm actually that's going to be Liam's job. He's going to take the flyers and go and put them out at all the different booths.
Cool.
So it's going to be a fun weekend.
Yeah, excellent. I'm going to Assiniboine in Winnipeg.
Assiniboine, that's in Manitoba.
Yeah, Diane Fast Club. Yeah, I'm going to go there. Well, I have to take Mom for eye surgery prior to that. So, and then on the weekend is the Assiniboine Dog Club, and it's held at the St. Norbert Arena in St. Norbert, which is just on the perimeter of Winnipeg as you come in from the east. So, yeah.
So you'll probably see friend of the show, Sean Bennett, there as well.
I am planning on that, to be quite honest with you. I am planning on that to see Mr. Bennett. So, yeah, it'll be, and I like that show. Diane and her club, they do a great job. It's a very nice laid back show, well run. They get a great, they usually get a pretty good entry too. So it'll be good. It'll be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
Not the drive to Winnipeg, but I am looking forward to being in Winnipeg. So, but right. I think, Mr. Alexander, we need to get our butts in gear here because we have a lot to talk about, a lot of results.
Well, because we missed a week, so we'll try to do the Coles Notes version. I know poor Megan wrote this whole thing out, but we'll do our best. Well, you'll do your best across Canada.
Yes, driven by Show Scene Magazine, where every dog takes center stage. Jesse.
Back to you, Yvonne.
Thanks. So on March 27th to the 30th, there was Oceanside Kennel Club. They had their show. Thursday, the best in show judge was Deidre McKinnon and from PEI, and there was 210 dogs entered. Friday's best in show judge was Philip Wendling from Ontario. 233 dogs were present. Saturday best in show, Heather Brennan, also from Ontario, with 253 dogs. And then Sunday's show was judged by Mary Spinelli from Nova Scotia, and that was 36 dogs. Then other judges that were on assignment there were Sandra Orford from Manitoba, which I'll probably see Sandy on.
We'll see her this weekend as well.
This weekend as well. And there was no show. There was no show in March of last year. So then we're going to
no numbers. Okay.
Yeah, so then we're going to move on to Club Canine de l'Estrie, also same weekend. Friday's judge was David Smartwood from Ontario, 265 dogs. Saturday was Cheryl Patterson, also from Ontario, 312 dogs. Sunday was Tom Nesbitt, and there was an entry of 264 dogs. Other judges were Sharon Luckhart from Quebec and Carola Adams from New Brunswick. So the entries were up from last year.
Carola.
Yeah. What's that?
Friend of the show, Carola.
Friend of the show, yes. So the numbers were up from last year. Quite well, actually.
Yeah.
Good jump in numbers. So that's pleasing to see. And then April 4th to the 6th, Red Deer show out in Alberta. Friday's best in show judge was Avery Godin from New Brunswick, and there was 420 dogs. That Red Deer show usually gets a good entry. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that's a nice show. I've been to Red Deer. That's a nice show.
Yeah, it is. And then Saturday's judge was Kieran Hutchings from Australia. 483 dogs, and Sunday's judge was Doug Godin from New Brunswick, and that was 434 dogs. And other judges that were there were Honey Glen Denning from BC and Betty Pierce from Alberta. And those numbers, they were down a bit, though. Surprisingly enough, they were down a bit.
Yeah, that's odd for that area.
But not
hugely.
Not a lot, really, so... Yeah. It was good. And then up here near my way, well, it's not really that close to me. It's about 12 hours away, but
closer to me.
yeah, actually, I guess so. Oh, well. Nickel District Kennel Club, April 4th to the 6th, also best in show. Now, they had 2 shows a day. So on Friday, the first show was judged by Jean Delisle from Quebec, 183 dogs. And the second one was Stuart Danker from Ontario as well, 183 dogs. Saturday's Best in Show judges were Cheryl Patterson with 181 dogs and Eduardo Teixeira from Brazil with 182 dogs. And then on Sunday's show, Catherine Grant with 176 dogs and Lede Perez from Colombia, 162 dogs. Anytime I get someone from like Colombia or whatever, I want to speak like that.
Anyway. I know you try to throw an accent. I would like to go to the hotel.
I like to. Anyway, other judges that were on assignment, shut up, Will, was Pierre Talbot from Quebec, Benjamin Chin from Ontario, Sandra Alder, also from Ontario, and R.C. Williams from California, I believe. Yeah. And the numbers were up this year. So it's nice to see. They were up.
Yeah, they were up.
They were good.
Every day. Were good.
So then on to Newfoundland, same weekend. Also 2 shows a day, but they only had Saturday and Sunday because they're sane. Saturday's first Best in Show was judged by Catherine Barlow from Alberta. They had 74 dogs, and Olga Ganya did the second show from Ontario, and she with 74 dogs. And then Sunday's Best in Show was judged by the husband and wife duo of Judith and William Byrne from New Brunswick, and they had
they got exactly the same numbers.
Same dogs, yes, 69 dogs each.
So they don't get to like act all cocky in the way, home I had more dogs
I had more than you, yes. And these numbers were down just slightly, which, depending on what's happening.
The Rock is hard to get to, and I'm glad they can still have a show. So
yeah, I mean, and good on them for doing that too, right?
Yeah.
So they persevere, but that's what they're known for too, right? And then, like you said, last weekend was Guelph, and Thursday's Best in Show judge was friend of the show, Sean Bennett from Manitoba with 269 dogs. Friday was judged by Leanne Bateman from Alberta with 284 dogs. Saturday's Best in Show was Joaquin Rosa. I can't help it. What is PR Peru?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Oh, see, I'm gonna let's throw that in there.
Like your old West Side Story.
I always think of Gloria on Modern Family. 369 dogs. And then on Sunday, I can't even say it now.
Eduardo Valadez from Mexico, 341 dogs.
Thank you. Anyway, other judges on this panel were Nancy Tibbin from Ontario and Olga Gagne, also from Ontario. So the show numbers were definitely up from last year. So well done. Well done, Guelph. So
yeah,
that's it. So then we got a lot of shows coming up now. We're getting into it. We're getting into the full swing of things. There's a show all over the place. So let's go through these upcoming shows brought to you by Canuck Dogs, your source for Canadian canine event information online. So Tyee Kennel Club, May 8th to the 11th, 4 all-breed shows, 3 obedience trials and 3 rally obedience trials, and they have a bunch of related specialties. The Bulldog Club of Canada, regional specialty, the Irish Red and White Setter Club of Canada, that's also regional, and the Pekingese Club of Canada, that's their national, and then the Western Canada Pekingese Club also has a specialty show and such.
And they have a bunch of boosters too.
Yeah, they got a bunch of boosters related to the specialty shows.
All the specialties.
And Labradors and Nova Scotia Duck Tollers and Staffy Bulls. So that show secretary is Classic Show Services, and the closing date is coming up. It's next week, April 23rd, which is Wednesday. Then the next one we have up is Nipissing Kennel Club, same weekend, from the 9th to the 11th in Sturgeon Falls, Ontario. That's 6 all-breed shows. The show secretary is Diana Edwards, Show Services, and the closing date for that is April 28th. And then we have Dartmouth Kennel Club on May 10th and 11th in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. And they have 4 all-breed shows. And that show secretary is Cheryl Sinot. And the closing date is the April 25th. Moving along in the Maritimes. Oh, no, this is not in the Maritimes. This is in Fort St. John and District Kennel Club. And you have to go on the Alaskan Highway to get there. I know that for a fact. That's May 16th to May 19th in Taylor, BC. And that has 8 all-breed shows. So it's 2 shows a day. And the show secretary for that show is Arctic Dreams Show Services. And that's closing on Thursday, May the 1st. So that's coming up. That's going to be right around the corner, folks. So if you think I'm shooting off in the distance, trust me, it's not. Kelowna Kennel Club, May 16th to May 19th in Kelowna, BC, 4 all-breed shows, limited breed shows for 1, 3, 7, and UK breeds. So that's quite a bit. And there's also the West Highland White Terrier Club of Western Canada. They have a regional specialty. And the boosters there, we have Rough and Smooth Collies on Sunday. Golden Retrievers, and that show secretary is Classic Show Services, and they close on Wednesday, April 30th. And then Hochelaga Kennel Club. Hochelaga. Yeah, remember we used to call it always Hochelaga. So Hochelaga.
We were at a show with Dorothy Nichols, and she said, "Well, I'm going to see you guys soon. I'm going to be at the Hochelaga show." So that's why we make fun of it now. It's Hochelaga. We know.
We know it's Hochelaga, yes. And that's on May 16th to the 19th in St. Lazare, Quebec. And that's outdoors. How about that? We're going to be outdoors. And that's 4 all-breed shows, limited breed shows for groups 1, 3, 5, and 7. And there's also the Keon Lure Coursing Association specialty show for sighthounds. Show secretary there is Diana Edwards Show Services. And that also closes on Wednesday, April 30th. And then the Regina Kennel Club, May 17th through the 18th in the Regina.
Could be funner than to be in Regina.
And that's in, obviously, Regina, Saskatchewan, and that's indoors. In case anyone wanted to know, it's indoors. And they have 4 all-breed shows, 2 rally obedience trials. The show secretary is C&D Show Services, and that's closing on April the 29th. So remember that today, April 29th. It's a Tuesday. And then KW Kennel Club, May 17th through the 19th in Kitchener, Ontario. And that's 3 all-breed shows, limited breed shows for 1, 3, 7, and 3 rally obedience trials. There's related specialties. There's the Black Russian Terrier Club of Canada National. That would be something to see.
Yeah.
And then the Bulldog Club of Ontario has 2 regional specialty shows for bulldogs. The Junior Handling Confirmation Zone 6 Finals will be at KW. And Zone 6 Confirmation Finals on Sunday, May 18th. Boosters for the following breeds: Black Russian Terriers, Bulldogs, French Bulldogs, and there's also a bred by exhibitor competition on the Sunday. And remember, that is open only to dogs entered in the bred by exhibitor class. There's no additional charge for this competition. And the show secretary is friend of the show, MJN Show Services, and it closes on April 30th. And then we have Tantramar Kennel Club, May 17th also through the 18th in Upper Brookside, Nova Scotia. And this show is outdoors as well. And it has 4 all-breed shows. The show secretary is Nancy Downing, and it closes April 30th. So that is that. And then we just have some reminders for closing. Fredericton Kennel Club, that closes early next week on April 21st. And the show secretary is Patrick Mudge, our friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Yep. And then Calgary Kennel and Obedience Club in Old Alberta on May 9th to the 11th. It also closes end of this week, closing April 19th. And the show secretary is TKO Show Services. So don't forget about those. That's
you must be exhausted now.
I'm so tired.
That's all, folks.
That's it. Thanks for coming.
We have more to talk about, though.
Oh, really?
So last week, I don't remember what show it was, but there was a an incident, and it
Well, I
garnered
think
a
now it's
lot
been
of
a couple of weeks because we've been gone
a
for a
couple
couple of
weeks
weeks.
ago.
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks
But
ago.
it garnered a lot of traction on Facebook,
Yep.
as usual.
Yep.
But it was the use of stacking blocks. I don't know
Mhm.
if we all know what those are. Those are the blocks
Yeah.
that we would train dogs to stack on. Now,
Yeah.
I never used them. I was shown
I
them.
haven't either.
I was,
Not to any extent. Like I've tried them out at a show, like someone had them, and
well,
you're
I
like,
was asked to design a set um, by a company, and then they called it Stacker Plus, and I was still not fond of them, even though I designed it. I think I made them take my name off it because I wasn't fond of them. But on there, it was. I can understand the usage of them because some dogs, they need that extra training, and it's the same as a grooming table too. You can almost do the same thing on a grooming table because it's not that they're off balance, but they're still wary of where they put their weight.
yeah,
But what's happened over the years, though, people have started using them for grooming. I've seen a lot of people in the States would use them, not just States, in Canada, for terriers, etc., to stand up while they're working on them, getting them ready. And I don't know that I consider it an abuse to the animal, but it is. But we talked about it earlier. It's the perception of it all.
Yeah.
We got to remember who's watching, and our sport is under a magnifying glass. It really is.
More so than ever now, too, right? Like it never was as bad, I think, as it is now with, all these different movements they have, like PETA and the rest of it. I mean, we are totally under scrutiny constantly.
Right.
And we do have to be very cautious about what it looks like to someone who does not know nor understand. And they may never get the chance to know or understand
exactly
some of the stuff that we do.
And the noose on a grooming table is the same thing.
Yes.
Like a lot of people, spectators come through and they think that's cruel.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a safety precaution for dogs staying on the table for us to groom them.
Yeah.
But you also got to remember that these dogs have been doing this most of their lives, so they're trained to be there.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows show dogs are spoiled rotten.
They are. They are. And
spoiled rotten.
Their time on the grooming table, they know is their time. They get more attention. And they know that, and then the next step, they know that they're going to go in the ring.
Oh,
right? They're all conditioned. They're all conditioned for that.
Yeah, she'd be on the table and she'd start getting excited. If I had to bring my show lead out and put it in my pocket while I was getting Mia ready, because if I went to the tap box, she'd be so excited that she could. Then it gets dangerous because she knocks tables over.
Well, it's true, and I've had lots of setters that as soon as I go to reach for the tack box, and I'm just trying to get myself prepared because I might have to go and show another dog, but I want to get the lead out in case someone else has to get the dog for me and bring him up to. But if I'm the one who touches that lead coming out of the tack box, well, then all heck breaks loose, and you've got a dog jumping around on the table because they're like, it's time to go. It's time to go. And, you have to. So when we use these other tools, we have to be very careful how we're using them. And we're not here to say don't use them or not use them, but just.
Yeah, and we're not here to vilify anybody. It's as long as you're safe when you use them. And it's just, you got to remember the perception that we are under a magnifying glass, and there's lots of spectators at dog shows still.
And the other thing is like a lot of people also don't understand, like, for you and I, like, okay, how long would it take me to get Adele ready? A long time. I enjoyed getting her ready. She enjoyed getting ready. And so, but to maybe the common person, a dog being on a grooming table for an hour or so, that to them, that would seem kind of cruel. Right? Even though
there's no question.
There's not anything cruel happening, but that's what they would think because the dog's not getting to run around or whatever. I mean, Adele got to do whatever she wanted, of course, but that was because she was a princess. But as that is the perception that, someone who's not understanding what we do, that's what they're seeing because they don't know what they don't know. Right? So,
And it's funny how some dogs start to get so accustomed to the grooming table that they would just hang out in the grooming tables afterwards.
Yeah.
And like Adele would, after come back from the group, she'd jump on the grooming
just
table,
jump in.
leave the noose off, and she'd just lay down on the grooming table so she could hang out with us,
Yep, exactly.
So
and a lot of the dogs are like that, and they do enjoy it. But yeah, we just have to, we have to be careful about, how things look to an outsider. And the other thing I think I'd like to say about that whole situation is, because I did read a lot of the comments on Facebook, and I think, we started this year off saying we need to be kinder to each other. And I think there was a lot of piling onto both sides. Like, for the person that actually brought it up, then, I mean, she was getting victimized. And then the people that, like, it was just like, everybody settle down. Like, I personally don't think it needed to be as discussed as much as it was, but I also get bored fast with it. Like, it was like, okay, that happened. And, maybe everyone can just learn a little bit from it. And,
that's right. That's all it takes. And, and if we had CKC reps at the dog shows,
perhaps
maybe such things wouldn't happen. I don't think there's any rule in Canada about stacking blocks, but I did think there was in America.
Okay.
And so I took it upon myself
look at you, Mr. Initiative. Wow.
to contact Patricia Proctor, she's retired field rep, but she was head of the field reps down there. AKC field
for
rep.
AKC. Okay.
Yeah. So she knows all the rules. And so I took it upon myself to reach out to Patty and see if she would give us a few words of wisdom about this rule and why it's instigated. Or even, I'm not even sure there is a rule. She was going to look it up for me.
Yeah.
And then again, I also wanted to talk to her about the role of a rep in America.
Yes.
So why don't we listen to Patty and we can all learn from her.
Patty Proctor.
Hi, everybody. As promised, I have Patricia Proctor with me, retired director of field staff for American Kennel Club, and now an AKC judge. I'm not going to throw you back there, Patty.
Thank you, Will, my friend.
So I called you earlier this last week about the incident that we had at the dog show about the stacking blocks. I just wanted to know what the AKC stand was on the stacking blocks.
Yeah. As with any rule and regulation that an individual club wants to apply to their show, the premium list is basically the Bible for the day. The individual club writes any and all kinds of rules and regulations in it that fits their show, that fits their needs. So if they want to write in there, no practicing in empty rings, don't let your dog lift a leg on the columns, no long leashes beyond 6 feet, no stacking blocks. They would have to write it in there. So it's up to the individual club when it comes to any and all of that. And that's why the show committee is so important. You really need people on those show committees that have great knowledge of the sport, who actually participate in it, who week in and week out see the potential of what can go wrong and then address it with their own show building, show site, parking area, whatever it is they need.
So there was no definite AKC rule then about this?
No. The only rule that AKC has is when it comes to leashes and collars, you're allowed one leash and or one collar or the combo of in the ring at a time. No more than one leash and collar if you need the collar.
Okay, so training devices, that type of...
Yeah.
All right. What I have next to, I always have a question of the week, and this week our question of the week is how would CKC shows benefit from having a AKC presence, a like presence at our shows, as in your field reps and as in your staff? Could you give me some pros and cons, or what your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. In a word, to me, I always find it a pro. And for many, many, many reasons. I'm going to admit to you, I truly, and no offense, I truly don't know the CKC system. I don't know how your shows work. I never showed up there. I never judged up there.
They're very similar. They're very similar except for that presence.
So all I can do is address what we did at the AKC. And your bottom line is, and of course, it would be great to have an AKC rep at every single AKC show. My gosh, there's so many AKC shows now. Sometimes that's not possible. And for the most part, for the 15 years I was a field rep, there were only 13 field reps to cover the entire country every single weekend. So we worked hard. And but when you think about it, and I would send, when I'm making a schedule, I would send the field staff to clearly shows with big numbers, shows that maybe had difficulties in the past. Sometimes I could take a request. Certainly when it came to circuits, because as we all know, exhibitors, club people kind of get cranky at the end of those circuits, especially if then they only have a day off and have another circuit. But we're the AKC reps are they're the walking AKC rule book. They're the eyes, the ears, and the AKC presence. It's the connect. And I think an awful lot can be solved if you have a field rep presence at the show and they're walking around doing a myriad of jobs, but basically making that connect. So often, and I found it with the AKC, whether you with the office in New York or Raleigh, you would have somebody from New Jersey or Montana who would still have that disconnect because it was a phone call. Their only connect was a phone call. And then you prayed you dialed the right number. Whereas if you have a field rep walking around, the amount of assistance that they can give to everyone at the show, and especially starting with the show chair, and everyone always needs to understand the field rep isn't the boss at the show. It's not their show. It's the show chairman's show. And with that in mind, the help that you can give the show chair, even ahead of time, discussing, if they have a problem, how are things going? Okay, I'll see you Saturday morning. The field rep arrives, they check out the parking lot, they check out the RV parking, they check in with the show chair, they check in with the super. Any problems, anything happen? Was there torrential rain last night and you need to move rings? Let me help you decide how to do that. It is total help. There should be no commands. There shouldn't be no demands. It is the show chair show, and that respect must be maintained. So you're working with the show chair. Have you checked in with your judges? Did they all check into the hotel? When are you getting them here? Anything you need? And there probably wasn't one time in the best well-run shows that when I would go to a show chair, what do I need to know? What's different than happened last year? Than what's in your premium list? As I mentioned before, what do I need to know? And of course, the field rep would look up that individual's club's rules and regulations before they even got to the show. So they had we would do our homework. Were there any judge cancellations? How can I help you with that? But we're basically the walking rule book. Not everyone, Lord knows, and we might have been the walking rule book, but I would have it on hand. If I didn't have an answer, wait right there. Give me your cell phone number. Let me go look it up. While that show chair and or judge and or exhibitor would go off and continue with what they needed to do for the day, I could look up the rule or policy. And what you also have to remember, since most of these shows happen on a Saturday or Sunday, the Raleigh and New York offices are closed. So the field rep was probably the one source that the exhibitors, the show chairs, the stewards, the club members, the judges. We'd be the one source that they could count on to guide them and give them the right answers. And I always say, in the United States, take more than one field rep number down. All of our numbers on our cell phones are public. And if you can't get, let's say I was working a show and I'm in the middle of a bench show hearing or in the middle of a dog fight, or I don't know. If I can't answer, call up another field rep. Establish, I always told the show chairs and the judges, establish a relationship with the field rep, without calling on a Monday morning at 9 a.m. Just saying.
Now, you talked about bench show committees. Were field reps, or were they the ones that would if they would be the deciding factor if one was being called, or was that the show chairman still?
No, we're there to assist. So since we knew the format, we'd supply what we had is called a dealing with misconduct book, which basically is how to run a bench show hearing. Even though the clubs are supposed to familiarize themselves with that book prior to the show, most of the time they don't. So
Right.
We'd hand out those books to the event committee and to the show chair and to the complainant and to the defendant. We tell them, okay, do this, and that. We never, ever got involved with a decision. We never, ever offered our opinion. That we're just there to facilitate that if and when it comes down to a sit-down bench show hearing, we can guide that committee. Okay, do this. Okay, now do this. Make sure you swear everyone in. And it kind of keeps having that presence there, kind of keeps sometimes some hot-headed people level. So
Deterrent to them all.
Yeah, but we would never, that is not our decision. That's also not our decision to say, should there be a bench show hearing or not. If questioned by the committee, let's say there's a complaint, Exhibitor A didn't like the color of the tie of Exhibitor B. Well, yeah, really. So you go in the back of the dealing with misconduct book, and that nowhere is listed as an offense. Not that, you see something different each day. So there could be something, outside that. But what I would do in that case, okay, we looked, I would say, is there an offense? Are they breaking a rule by saying that? No. Are they breaking a policy by saying that? No. Did they use foul language when they said that? No. I toss it back at that committee and let them answer their own questions. And the bottom line is, with any bench show hearings, at that point in time, the event committee, they're the eyes and ears for that hearing, to call witnesses, to talk to witnesses, to get statements. They decide the turnout, but their decision is just a suggestion. All that evidence gets sent in within 5 days to the AKC event committee. They're the final say. They review everything, they check everything out, and they're the final say on if the person gets suspended and if there's a fine involved in it. Yeah.
But like up here, I'm not 100% sure. I think that we have to put out money before we can put a complaint in. So that's a deterrent as well, I guess. I
think the AKC had it a million years ago. Am I right? Or was that on Wicketing and Scales, or was it on him? Yeah, I don't remember. Right now, there is nothing. You hope it's not frivolous. And if it is, I always suggest, meaning the tie thing, don't like the color of the tie. If it is, I always suggest to the committee to write what they need to say to that AKC committee. Let them know. They were the eyes and ears. What was the attitude on that person or on that person, meaning the defendant or the complainant? Do they feel this is frivolous? And in doing so, it took at least 3, if not 5, committee members off of the show site, where it could have been the hospitality person, it could have been the parking guy. Taking those people out of their assigned jobs for the day can cause chaos. And if it's done in a frivolous way, clearly the committee isn't wild about it. Clearly it's a trickle down effect that, okay, now that he goes back out to the parking lot and it's a mess and everyone's blocked in. So when any and all of that happens, I always told the committee, write your thoughts into the AKC. If they feel somebody needs to be fined because of that or called out on the tie thing, let them deal with it. They're the final say anyway. But you have to let them know what happened out of the ordinary and where you were either offended or if the person was totally remorseful, which counts for a lot. And you'd be surprised how many people are not remorseful. I mean, you're sitting there in the hot seat. Be remorseful. Get over yourself.
Exactly. Now, what are the field reps' duties pertaining to judges down there? I know you guys you observe judges and whatnot, write reports. How does that work?
Yeah, well, it works off of whatever the current judging policy is. And there's different reports for brand new judges and compared to what we call additional breed judges. So they've gone beyond the new breed judge, where we mainly look for procedural issues. Did they run the ring right? Did they gate the dog in a down and back or a Z pattern? Did they mark their book right? Did they call the class in? Were they respectful to the exhibitors and the steward and anybody else? So that's on one report. Once they get beyond that, they're called and apply for more breeds, they're called an additional breed judge. So at that point in time, the field staff is actually not only watching, we still watch the procedure. That never goes away. Sometimes people get sloppy and forget to check their book or forget to mark their book or, forget to orderly place people. So that never goes away. But the main focus is on their new breeds. Are they putting up they already have Goldens, so now they've moved on to Labradors. So their procedure's good, and they've gone through the training and education supposedly for Labradors. But we arrive at that ring to do a report, and they're putting up the one-eyed, three-legged Labrador. So we sit down, whether it's a positive evaluation or a negative evaluation, we always sit down with the judges. And the bottom line is we don't sit there and say, what the hell were you thinking? Although I've been tempted. I might have said it once or twice. But we're there to help. Okay, right. You put up the three-legged Labrador with one eye. I'm going to write that you need to go back to the books. You need to go back to your tutor, to your mentor, to your seminar, to your webinar. If something that drastic is what you're choosing on the day, you're just missing the boat. So I'll write that on the report. I'll tell them that. And there's nothing that would ever go in my report that I didn't share with them, that I did not discuss with them. No surprises, So we do have that. We have reports we write for visiting judges, and that truly is mainly procedure. I know that they are sent from the AKC. They're sent rule book and policy book and how to and all that way before they even leave their country. And I never understand sometimes on a plane trip when you're bored to tears, why are you not opening some of those books? Just saying. But for the most part, they're pretty good, especially if they're repeaters. We always, the field reps, whether the judges approve for junior showmanship or not, if we possibly can be at that ring, we are there. Because it wasn't, I don't know when it stopped, but it wasn't that long ago where the only requirement you need to judge junior showmanship was simply checking a box on the bottom of your application. Do you want to judge junior showmanship? Check. And you had a lot of people doing that because they thought it was cute to look at the little girls with the big red bows, or, gee, if I'm charging by dog, that'll get me more money. And they had no idea about the rules and regulations. And the current book on junior showmanship, Mara Beth did, and she did a brilliant job because it's an easy read. It's pretty simple. You should get it by the end of it. And if you don't, the field rep is there, if at all possible, to rally it around, bring it on back and say, hey, don't forget, no, you're not asking them to jump over their dog. No, you're not asking them for a T pattern. No, yes, you're watching them set up the dog. So, and on occasion, we're pretty blunt and we find the people that just check the box. And we strongly suggest they never judge that class again. And that report from the field rep goes into the office and let them decide what to do with my eyes and ears and what I saw.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Up here, you don't have to be licensed to judge juniors, which becomes a problem sometimes because they'll just find someone that's available and they'll do it. And you'll get the tease, you'll get them dancing around dogs, and I'm like standing there shaking my head.
Or you'll get disrespect. I mean, when judges shouldn't be touching these kids, even on a shoulder, even a pat, like maybe they do with their own grandson or granddaughter.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You also don't bend down and talk down to them. Stand tall. They're just shorter people than us. So there's got to be, the field rep has to see that respect and that human nature knowledge that these supposed junior showmanship judges have, and that they are putting up the kids who handle their dogs the best. Believe it or not, you still had judges who were judging the dogs, so it's very important. So right. At every single show, I know I always tried to swing around that ring. Yeah.
It's important. It's good. That's great, Patricia. I really appreciate it. Now, I'm going to put this question out this week on my Facebook page, our Facebook page. If I get some interesting answers, can I call back to you and go through them with you?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I hope I can answer them. If I can't, I'm going to tell you. I can't answer them. All I can work off of is my 15 years as a field rep and then as a director. And not too much has changed. And oftentimes it's pretty basic because people don't read rule books, so they rarely dive into that to get the details that I might have, in my old brain, might have forgotten.
You always answered my questions, so that's why I call on you. So,
well, and then we're both going down the wrong path. I'm dragging you with me, Will. I'm dragging you with me, my friend.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Patty, and it was great seeing you, and I'm sure I'll see you somewhere. So.
Great to see you, Will. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Patty. Well, that clarifies things. That's interesting about a field rep's job at the dog show. And
I think they're so. I really do feel that they're so valuable in the States. I mean, and I know they have a much bigger population, et cetera there. But I mean, there's been oftentimes I've been at a show, and you have a question about something, and you're like, "Well, go talk to the field rep," and you're like, "Oh, I didn't."
There's always a presence. That's what I like about AKC shows. There's always an AKC presence at the show. That if there is an issue or a problem, even judges, when judges have when you're judging down there and you have an incident or you have a question about a rule, they will come.
I'm just laughing because last year I was at a show in the States. I'm not going to say the show because then you'll know who the judge is, but I just remember the field rep who I happen to know. And he walked by me and he was just shaking his head because this one judge, they call for the field rep constantly. And it's just and it doesn't matter. And he judges a lot of different breeds and a lot of different groups. And it was every 2 minutes, the field rep seemed to be walking by because where I was benched, was in the traffic.
We can do that. We can call the superintendent or the secretary and ask them the same questions.
Yes.
I just think that
they have that,
club,
but they have that job already. Like they have a different job, basically,
right? They
right? And
already
it's
have
like
a job. Like
exactly.
You go to the AKC shows, and you couldn't. There's lots of secretaries there, like Moss Boy
Yeah,
or whatnot.
because it's like they're all big services. Yeah,
Right.
but if you're like
you're not going to ask them those questions. You're not going to
no,
call them to ringside. Now, if there's there are shows where there's no reps, if they're smaller shows, a rep might not be there, and the super has to go and deal with it. But I do like the idea of having a KC presence. I think a CKC
having a designated person.
Like, and we do have a CKC presence once in a while. We have when reps
but
come and they
represent,
walk the show.
Yeah, your directors, and like, and hats off to all of our directors. Our directors do try and get to as many shows as they can,
They do.
within the year.
But I think it would be better if they had a desk.
Yeah.
And they were at that desk so people could always find them.
Yeah.
To ask them questions. And you never know if they're going to be there. You never. I know it's difficult.
No, you don't, because I mean, in your area more so than mine, but in your area, that zone director can have 2, even maybe 3 shows going on.
Right.
So how are they supposed to get to all 3 of those, right? So they have to pick one.
And they do, like directors do assign confirmation reps throughout their areas.
Yeah.
They can go to the shows when they can't. But I think I honestly feel like if you're at the dog show in America and you go looking for the rep, you go to their desk and they're there.
Yeah.
Unless they're off dealing with a problem.
Yes.
And I think that's important. I think that would be a really advantageous to the shows to have
so
a
that
desk
they're identifiable.
Right. And the director. Well, see, but our directors are not reps. Our directors don't really have the same power that AKC field reps have.
Right.
They can answer questions, but it's if there's an issue, they really can't deal with it right then and there, which the AKC rep can.
Yes. And I think that probably I don't know, for us, as far as the CKC goes, probably in the long run would save us some money, because then we don't have to be, going through, logic, like, putting in the complaint, and then you got to wait for the hearing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And that kind of stuff. And by the time that all happens,
put your money down here, you can have a bench show committee.
Yeah.
But you don't have to put money down in America.
No, exactly. No,
it's because that does deter some people from, which is also good as well. But sometimes issues aren't dealt with because someone doesn't want to put the $250 down, unless you're John Glover, who already has a check made out to $250 and he's putting it down
on the ready.
And he did have that check made. It was always in his tax box.
Girls Glover.
So
it's interesting.
I think it's worth it. So the question of the week this week is: would our CKC benefit from having AKC like field reps? Now, Megan will word it better for our Facebook page, but
we're not totally oblivious to the fact that this AKC makes a lot more money than we do. They have the funds to do this kind of thing. But we're throwing the question out there to maybe help us develop a profile of someone very similar to what they have in the States as an AKC rep, as to what we could have for a representative for us. So, we're looking for ideas and different comments and
thoughts. And we just want to know, do you think we would benefit from that kind of presence, a CKC presence?
Exactly.
Yep. And we still do have a CKC presence. We have the directors.
Yeah.
But I mean, a permanent desk. Like when I was a kid, there was always a desk. There was always Frank Jones sitting at the desk, and he would answer any questions you wanted. And he would go to ringside and deal with problems. I think he may have overstepped his boundaries a bit, but he was there.
Yes, you knew he was there. Yeah.
Now, did we want to, before we move on to last week's question of the week, do we want to touch on what happened this week with the hearing?
Well, I think just, that was, there was a hearing for some of the issues that were
incidents that took place.
Earlier. And we kind of discussed, I guess we discussed that probably at the end of last year, right?
Right.
And
I don't want to yay or nay, because that's not up to anybody. It's up to the CKC now. And we're in no position to hold judgment over these people. But I really do hope in my heart of hearts that those people involved get it together and come back and show dogs, because they're all very
talented people,
very talented handlers, and our sport needs handlers like that. So I hope that it all works out and they all come back and do what they love doing and join the sport. And I know they can all benefit the sport. I know they can, in my heart. I know they can. So I want to see that. So
yes, for sure.
That's it. That's all I have to say.
That's all we have to say for that. And that's that. So, but we did have the question from last week.
Yes.
That there was a lot of answers, which Will, you can go through most of them because I'm.
I don't think that Megan likes to fill up our page.
Well, she likes to give us lots of options because
she's wonderful and she deserves a raise. And right now we're giving her another raise. We gave her a raise a few weeks ago.
We're going to double what you're making now, Megan.
What she's making now. The question of the week last week was, what is one piece of advice or wisdom from the dog show world that continues to resonate with you today?
Yep.
First one was Janice Hayes, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
The dogs come first. That's what it is all about. And I was taught that too. I mean, you were taught that. We were all taught that. And the dogs do come first, no matter what. That we're here for the dogs. Melody Roth wrote, a wise woman once told me that you leave with the same dog you entered the ring with, no matter the outcome. Seriously, your dog couldn't care less. And it's true, right?
So
they don't know some dogs know when they've won just because of the sheer excitement from their handler and the crowd.
Yeah, they're feeding off their handler. Right? Yeah.
But they don't know when they're not upset because they didn't beat the dog behind them.
No, no. Only you are.
Yes. Judy Alford wrote, you think you've got a good dog? Compared to what? You must compete against the best to know what you have. Fred Backstrom told her that.
Yeah. And that's, and really, just if you think about that, that is so true. So true.
Maybe I missed one. Wait a second. No,
that's
it. That said Judy Alford twice here. Okay.
Yeah.
She must have paid extra to get on there twice.
Maybe.
Maybe she knows Megan.
I bet she does, actually. So from Heather Brennan, she wrote, first, enjoy your dogs. And that was told to her by Jonathan Kimes.
See, I think that was Judy Alford again.
Are you sure? Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Because then we have Heather Brennan. At the end of the day, you always take the best dog home. Sometimes we're not happy with results, but this is never the dog's fault. They give us their all. They deserve our all.
It's true.
Because the next one is Steffi Wilkins. Because Al Bennett.
Yeah.
You can read this one. I think we're going to skip that one. But noted, Stephanie.
And yes, we have heard Al. Big Al.
I've heard that one, yes.
I've heard that one too. There's just a profanity in it. That's why we're not reading it. But we truly appreciate anyone who wants to go see it. It's on our Facebook page, I'm sure.
Basically, take those opinions with a grain of salt. Find those people who genuinely want to see you succeed and go to them for advice.
Yes.
We'll leave the beginning out.
Yep. So from Doug McIntyre, and he said from his dad, before I left for any dog show, he would say, keep your eyes and ears open and your trap shut. That is a valuable piece of advice. That's valuable.
That's good advice from Dad.
Yeah.
Davey.
Yeah.
And Laura Menaker, win with grace, lose with dignity. I can still hear Penny Nunley saying chicken one day, feathers the next.
Yeah.
It's as good as an explanation for show results as any.
Yeah. Yes. And then from Doug Johnson, dogs come and go. It's the friendships you make along the way in this sport that last forever. And
he's such a nice guy.
He is.
He's such a nice guy.
And it's so true, right?
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
Look at the number of dogs that have passed between you and I, right? And here we are, two Goombas on a podcast now.
And then Michael Faulkner, friend of the show.
Another really nice guy.
Expect nothing from the judge and only the best from you.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
That's
right?
wise advice. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Clayton Harris, if you take care of your dogs, they will take care of you. And that was told to him by Rick Kashudian.
Yeah, that's who Clayton worked for.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there's a lot of them come down to the dogs come first.
Yeah.
Be kind to each other, maybe on pure.
Yep. And help each other.
Help each other. Frank Murphy, my 6 that love it will beat your 9 that hate it most days.
That's a good one. And then here's one from Rose Mitchell.
Oh.
Dog shows are moments. Timing is everything. And that was given to her by you, Mr. Alexander. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Very wise. Very wise indeed.
So wise. So wise. Genevieve Monroe, she says, the late Clint Harris gave me breed at a show many years ago. The next day he saw me and asked how I did. I lost. He smiled and said, well, that's dog shows. Some days you win, some days you don't, but there will be always another dog show. And that's right.
And I like this one too, from Natalie Bridget. Don't spray up wishfully. Now that's sort of pointed at poodle people.
Yeah.
I know it's not the cute, your dog is the best dog things, but I hear Allison Alexander saying in my head every day I spray up. I'm sure I will the rest of my life.
That's good.
Spray
Lots
up
of good.
wishfully.
Yeah. It's a lot of good information there. A lot of good stuff.
For sure. And there's a lot more that we didn't touch on. So
so go to the Facebook page if you haven't. Go to the Facebook page and go read through some. There's always I enjoy reading our answers from our listeners and participants because there's always a tidbit that you can pick up from that too.
That's right.
Because there is a lot of wise people on our Facebook page. Not just
join.
Us.
Don't forget to join the Facebook page and like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. It's on podcast. It's also on YouTube. So it's not the YouTube. On YouTube. Your daughters already make fun of us. You want to make it worse?
I don't care. They live at home for free. I don't care.
So don't forget about the Spring Canadian Pet Expo this week, 18th, 19th, and 20th at the International Center in Toronto.
If you're there, drop by, say hi to Mr. Alexander, get a book, get an autograph.
I will be there on Friday from 10 to 4, signing books and kissing babies. And
and puppies.
So,
and I'll be at the Assiniboine show. So if you see me I will be ring skirting. So if you see me, come by.
And say hello, though.
Come say hi to me.
We're working on a dog show presence for the dog show drive, and you'll all hear about it when it comes out. So I think you know what? Why I think that was a pretty good first episode back.
I think so too. We did.
As long as we didn't lose anybody. I'm sure my mom may have signed off.
I'm so tired now.
Yep. All right, that's enough for everybody.
Yep.
Take us away, Yvonne.
Everyone traveling to a show this weekend, please drive safe. Seatbelts on, glasses on. Bye.
Later, skaters. Clark, stop scratching.
You never know who might come out. Okay, I can't find that thing you want me to find.
You press that and more comes up.
Yeah, there's no crying in dog shows.
You're not getting anything good here, dog.